Welcome to Proven and Probable, where we focus on metals, mining, and more. I'm your host, Maurice Jackson. Joining us is a special guest, Dr. Quentin Hennigh. We're live here in Karratha, Australia, and we're at a site visit, essentially, that has encompassed, I would say, some remarkable results in the little tenure that I've had here in just 24 hours. You've had analysts come here, you've had geologists come here. What type of feedback have you been receiving from them?
Yeah, we've had about 50 people on site over the past 2 weeks. We had a tour last Wednesday and then yesterday, and it includes, like you said, analysts, various financial types, including investors. The feedback has been resoundingly positive. It's they get out there, they see the property, they see the trenches we've dug, the gold coming out of the ground. We have demonstrated, our famous exercise of digging nuggets out of the trenches for everyone. Seeing it firsthand really means a lot. So all of the feedback I have so far is very positive.
And in reference to that, I don't believe you have the samples with you, but we extracted 11 grams of gold yesterday, did we not?
Yes, from three different spots.
3 different spots. So we were at Purdy's Reward, and then we went to Comet Wells.
Yep.
And it was just exciting to see that. And we're going to show that footage along with this interview, so stay tuned for that as well. So for someone that is new to the Novo Resources story, give us some background here.
Yeah, Novo Resources has been working in Australia now for about 7 years. We focused on looking for this particular type of gold deposits, conglomerate hosted. And the first 6 years we focused on the area around Nugget, which is in the East Pilbara region. This is about 1,400 kilometers north of the city of Perth, so we're in Western Australia. It was roughly a year ago that we got rumor of this discovery of gold near Karratha. Karratha is a city we're actually sitting here right now. It's a beautiful city, modern city. It's about 22,000 people. And people started finding gold nuggets about 50 kilometers south of town, using metal detectors primarily. So when this rumor got out, through doing some investigation, we determined that the gold was indeed coming from conglomerates. So it was kind of basically the prize we've been chasing for a long time. So we jumped on it. We started staking land in late February. Struck a number of land deals with other parties over the subsequent months. By end of August, we had nearly 10,000 square kilometers put together here in Karratha. It's a different type of gold deposit. People that have been out there now see what we're talking about. It's easy to see that it could be quite large. The margin of the basin is very formidable when you look at it from close up when you're on site. So you can really wrap your mind around what kind of potential there might be on this property.
And we have, essentially in this past year, 7,000 square kilometers that you've added onto the portfolio, basically.
Yeah, that's the ground we staked, 100%, and then we've added the rest of it. That ground is through various ventures we have with other parties.
And now talk about the topography here. So we have rolling hills, but there's some unique features. We have basalt on these rolling hills. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, sure. So the stratigraphy is actually the key to this whole property. This is a bedded deposit, right? So you can think of it like a layer cake. The lowest layer, or the plate that the cake is on, is called the basement, and the basement is comprised of a bunch of different types of rocks. It can be intrusive rocks in one place, metamorphic rock in another. Then on top of that is our conglomerate sequence. So basically the targeted horizon that we're looking at for gold is sitting right on top of the bottom of the plate. So it's like the lowest layer in the cake. But then you have a layer of basalt, more sediment, layer of basalt. And it's those basalt horizons that actually are key to this whole property. When basalt comes out, it's quite resistant to erosion, and because of that, it helped preserve these sediments underneath, these gold-bearing sediments. So it's only been in the past few million years that the basin has eroded back far enough that we actually can get a glimpse of those lower units. If we had been here 5 million years ago, I don't think you would have found it.
Well, speaking of as well, some unique attributes here. So the gold nuggets that we're seeing here, and excuse us, there's a number of flies here. For the gold nuggets that you're seeing, there's some unique characteristics. They're alluvial. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, correct. The gold that we see currently, and we've seen this through open up trenches. is entirely rounded. It's definitely been transported, definitely been waterborne or water transported. But the source of that gold is still a mystery. The composition of the gold, meaning the carat of the gold and the other trace elements that are in it, does not match anything we see in the basement rock around here. So it really makes for a big, big question about source. My idea is that there was a precipitation event back in the early Earth history, so in the Archean period, around 2.7 to 2.9 billion years ago. The chemistry of the gold that we see often matches that kind of a type of gold. But have we put our finger on the exact source? No, we haven't yet. But that's the working hypothesis.
And speaking of the working hypothesis, talk to us about what could be a potential relationship that you have with South Africa with the Witwatersrand.
Sure. It's fairly clear that the Pilbara Craton, this old piece of crust here in Australia, was indeed once connected to South Africa. It actually formed what would have been the first little continent on Earth, and that continent was probably the size of New Zealand. It was a very small landmass. So you wind back the clock to Archean time, and you were to look at Google Earth like Google Earth, or look at Earth like in Google Earth, where you can see everything. You'd probably see like 99% ocean and a wee bit of island sticking out. That's it. All right. So all of this activity, everything that we see here in the Pilbara, everything we see in South Africa, is really that first continent building exercise on Earth. The platform in South Africa, obviously, it supported the Witwatersrand Basin, and which is the largest single gold field on Earth. And the premise for working over here is to find the other half of it. Trying to find the cousin.
Now, I want to backtrack here for a second because you brought something to our attention yesterday in reference to the composition of oxygen in the air at that time. It's not the same as it was now because, of course, when the Earth was formed and there was no land. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, sure. So today we have lots of oxygen. Plants make oxygen through photosynthesis. But the Earth had no or very little life as we know it back in the early Archean, at least not a diverse spread of life. So it was about 2.9 billion years ago that the first photosynthesis emerged. Plants, algae, cyanobacteria, things like that evolved to start producing oxygen. And prior to that, there was none. There would have been gases like carbon dioxide, nitrogen, but also methane and hydrogen sulfide and things like that. So very reduced atmosphere. In that atmosphere, seawater, for example, can dissolve quite a bit more gold than it does today. So the premise I have for this gold depositional event is that seawater held quite a bit more gold during that time, and it was the emergence of oxygen, this photosynthetic life, that really triggered the precipitation event. As soon as oxygen started coming into the system, gold spontaneously started precipitating on that material. And it's a bit of a wild idea, but there's pretty good evidence for it in the Wits, and we hope to see the same evidence here.
We certainly do. Switching gears here, there's been some questions regarding bulk sampling, assaying. Talk to us about that.
Sure. One of the biggest challenges on the property is that it's a very nuggety system. Beaton's Creek, which is in the East Pilbara, was nuggety. We had nuggets like 2 or 3 millimeters quite often. But here we're seeing nuggets up to 2 or 3 centimeters. Yesterday when we dug up some of the nuggets, you could see them quite easily there. Big things that are several grams each. All right, so to sample that, it's complicated. You have to actually collect a large sample. If you think about it, your odds of getting one of those nuggets in any random grab sample out there, like a small rock chip sample, it's very, very small. Okay, to adequately sample, you have to collect something big. And what we're finding, and what's really key to this property, is we have to collect those bulk samples either through trenching or large diameter drilling. Trenching, we're finding, is revealing a lot of geology and a lot of good material for us. Like we can really get in there and grab material. Mm-hmm. We can see the context of the material in the trench. So it's going to be a critical part of this exercise.
All right. Now, results. People are always focused on results. This is a results-driven industry here. When could we expect to see some results in reference to some of the trenching? Again, forgive us, we have a number of flies here.
Flies they're the Australian national bird.
They certainly are. But when do you expect to get some results out as far as more core samples?
Yeah, sure.
When do you expect to get that?
Okay, so we're doing diamond drilling right now. We've actually got, we're getting close to the end of that program on the Purdy side, and then we'll step over to Comet well soon once we get that permitted. As far as results from that, we are slicing and sampling that core, but that's not those are not the results that will drive resource work. The results for resource work will come out of the trenches and larger diameter drilling. That data is going to take a few weeks to a few months to start collecting. We have started sending samples down to Nagrom Laboratory, the Met lab that's going to do this work, and they have started putting those through, so I would expect sometime early next year we'll see the first actual hard numbers off the property.
That's going to be quite exciting. Now, switching gears here, we have some, the shear structure slightly changed here a little bit. We have I'm sorry, this fly. Talk to us about Kirkland Gold here.
Kirkland Lake, yes.
Kirkland Lake, and then Eric's Broad as well.
Yes. Kirkland Lake currently has about 17.5% of the shares on issue. When Kirkland walked up, I thought, that's pretty bold for them to basically put in $56 million on a trench result and really just visual indications at that point. That was a bold move, but they saw the potential. They had their geologists out here in August, and they were absolutely convinced. I like people like that. I like people who are willing to take bold moves like that, really jump in and support us. So I see them as a huge plus for Novo. Eric has been a supporter of Novo for many years. He participated in the initial placement back in 2010, but he also has topped up and helped keep Novo, keep Novo's traction really through the whole downturn in the gold cycle. So he's a huge supporter and very, very grateful for the many years of support he's provided.
A great addition. So again, Kirkland has 17.66, I think, ownership, and the free float is still right at 50%, if I'm not mistaken, on the share structure, correct?
Yep.
All right. So we've covered the good, we've covered the bad. What's something that I forgot to ask you today?
Yeah, that's a good question. We have had a lot of people on site. My goal of having visitors come, both analysts, financial types, and geologists, world-class geologists, is to get everybody's view on this project. It's an unusual gold deposit, but having smart people look at it and getting their feedback is absolutely critical. It's also critical for us so that they can go out and tell the story to the market. It's not just Novo talking about gold nuggets and trenches and stuff. It's very smart people who've seen the thing firsthand, going out and telling investors and other people what they think.
Due to confidentiality, we can't share who's here at the site visit and who's been here, but I'm aware of some of the names, and I've had discussions with them offline. Across the board, there's excitement, enthusiasm, and they're really looking forward to the future of Novo Resources. What is the best way to contact you if we want to get more information regarding
Sure.
Novo Resources?
You bet. So Leo Karratha is our Vice President of IR. He's listed as management on the webpage. I'd encourage people to go to www.novoresources.com, find the contact phone number or email for Leo, and we get right back.
And I just want to echo that. Leo Karratha is easily accessible. He's willing to answer all of your questions regarding Novo Resources. And again, please visit our website as well, which is www.provenandprobable.com, where we interview the most respected names in the natural resource space. You may reach us at contact@provenandprobable.com. Dr. Quentin Hennigh of Novo Resources, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Maurice.
And Probable.
Thank you.
We've also sampled the walls, like you can see it cut out on the wall over there, where we've taken a series of samples down through the wall. So these are the kind of things we're doing now. We are talking with our QP about what's going to be meaningful sample data for this project, given of course gold. A lot of things are going to be in the work until we get data back around particle size, distribution, and so forth. But right now it's Australia. I believe this is the same company, right? On what trend are they This is a 2300 detector. Look, the 7000s are the most recent model. They're very sensitive. The guys that use them absolutely love them. They're very good at finding little pieces of gold. This thing is mainly for sharpshooting. These things, Probable. Is it 3 gram? Yeah. Okay. All right, so these are better for sharpshooting. But the 20 or the 7000 are good for. These things actually go through a cycle of picking through radio waves and determining the best frequency to use. The question was how deep it will go. It all depends on the size of the nugget and the depth and its orientation. A lot of the nuggets here are flat. If they're oriented like this, they're very hard to pick up. If they're oriented like this, they're easier to pick up. A detector like this can see a nugget maybe 3 or 4 inches down. It can maybe hear a nugget deeper than that, but you'll see right now most of these nuggets in the pit bottom here are within a few inches of surface. Okay, the thing about these go through a cycle and you have to kind of calibrate, so we're balancing it to the ground noise there when we push the button. But now it should be balanced. There's a little bit of noise in the air today, which is interesting. Very noisy. There's something like really like steady. The dots were marked with pink paint back in the day because it was easier to demonstrate. You know, we got a lot of nuggets around. A lot of those have been chiseled up. You'll see they're still on the floor in many places here. It's hard to tell which ones have been dug up and which haven't. Still stuff there. Pile of muck here. Let's see where there's up there. They're quite loud. You can't tell if it's a shallow nugget that's slow. Pretty good sized one. Should we dig up? It sounds deep, but it sounds like it could be big. Yeah, these are all marked with 7,000. Give it a go. Let's see. All right. Bear in mind that this surface is mainly basement. Now nuggets work their way down in the cracks. So these nuggets did have to be stuck in the cracks.
wave it over.
Best way to get nuggets out of the ground? Do a live stream because everybody knows they gotta get that sugar out.
Total fear, hey? Throw them over again, wait.
Oh boy. Couple there, right? Yeah, there it is right there.
Oh, look at it. Oh, shit. Does anybody have a pen on them? Pencil? You want to get it out in your hand?
Here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Look at that. Hold it in your hand.
Just run that over. A couple of, you think?
Wow.
Let's put that in some type of proportion with that pen again.
So how much would that weigh?
Yeah, I will. I'll do it. Yeah, it'd be good to see them.
What, a couple of grams in that?
A couple of grams. Yeah, a bit less than that, right?
Some, Rob,
Yeah. Oh, well, I did that. That was quite hard
could
work.
you
I
reach
thought.
down there and grab some of the rock, the
Because you've got to get
sediment?
down that deep
Show
to start
them
off.
that it is sediment, not that stuff. The stuff over there closer to the scoop. Yeah, see those? Okay. One thing I'll point out is that's actually sediment. It's like a scab of sediment sitting on basement there. You can see it's a classic rock when you look at the first surface.
This matrix is what it is.
Yeah, it's a nugget down in the matrix. Yeah. So we're not seeing nuggets out on the surface. We're probably already in the basement.
A lot of irregularities on the bedrock surface, and those irregularities fill with sand, and that's basically what it is. These are just sand sitting in those irregularities. That's what you see these nuggets in.
Between the stones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are all just sandstones. Very bone solids.
What we have here is our conglomerate. There's no sand in this wall, is there?
No.
Look Okay, so this is conglomerate from where John is all the way down to the bottom. The contact between the conglomerate and the basement rock is right here. While there are probably nuggets in the rock here, it's very difficult to use a metal detector sideways because they're designed to work with Earth's magnetic field this way, not this way. So it's a bit of a problem trying to metal detect the walls. But when you get on a flat surface, a little bit of a muck pile, some dirt left behind here. Somebody's chiseled something out there. That's a honker.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
What I want to get is a nugget that's still in the rock matrix, so you can see the halo. Sorry, the halo of disseminated gold around it. So it looks like it's still in the rock. Popped out. Check his pocket. It sounds like it might have popped out. Jeez. They don't make it too easy, do they? Still on the rock.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
The more the merrier, right?
Bingo.
You want to bring it up the surface and break it out?
Oh, there it is. I see it right there.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Couple
Where? I thought that yellow thing was it. Where is it? Here, there's fine stuff in there. Let me hold on to that.
Just a little bit in there.
When did you like sandboxes as a kid?
Love them. Okay, it's broken out, but yeah.
What's that?
Go look for fines in that. See if. Look.
Got your hand lens, Luke?
Yep. Yeah, the nugget is. Does anybody have a bottle of water?
Yep. Here you go.
Nugget coated by stuff. Anyway. your theory on the dissemination, Quinton? Theory on the dissemination? I think it's been remobilized. Joe's got other ideas. I don't know.
There's 4 geologists here, so there's at least 6 answers. So. Make that 7.
There it is. That's it. There's the yellow. Tough when you get down into the fresher rock.
There's a whole cluster of them in there.
Oh, that might be the one that's strong.
Oh, you're catching the other one.
Sorry. Is you want one? That's it.
Yeah, I should throw a bunch of lead pellets down in here so guys can cross them.
Thanks.
Oh, there it is. Oh, that's a huge one. Good work. Okay, it's been mangled a little bit by the jackhammer, but it's a nice one. It's a good example. Maybe wash it with a
Yeah,
little
that was
water.
done.
Anyway, you get the idea. This is the only place I've been where after a while it kind of gets a little boring.
Oh, another nugget.
Friggin' nugget.
Would have been a bigger one.
Anyway, that's probably about a 3 or 4 grammer.
Yeah, that's a good nugget.
How big was the other one? Was maybe 2 grams. So we chiseled out. How big was the first one?
Let's have a wee look at it.
3 grams.
About 6, 7, 8 grams.
Yeah. So we chiseled out maybe, let's call it conservative 6 grams, maybe 7 or 8 grams in a few minutes. Now this I will re-emphasize is our biggest problem. Is that you can see this could be a distraction. Okay. We're trying to find a balance between nugget screwing around and work. And right now we gotta get work done.
So we take the weekends off then. And,
Now, this here is the conglomerate that Quentin was talking about, and so far out of this rock, which we've given it away now because we call it sort of hard rock mining, and it's just taken too long to get the gold out and whatnot. So out of this, I reckon we would have pulled at least ½ ounce all the way through the guts of that, across here. There's still gold in here, but like I said, we're just going to leave it there. Hear that? Right, that's gold in the rock itself. Right, you move it over the rest of the rock, so you're not getting that real strong noise, you know, that strong signal. Until when we get down onto this bit here, there's still some more, but it's deep. Hear that? Well, that's it, actually in the rock itself, but like I said, way too deep. We're definitely not going to get them out. So we just got to continue around. There will be one little hard spot for the lady just getting through here. But see how you go. We got to keep going west. So all this hog, all this deep, all the way through, nuggets all the way through, in a conglomerate, everything. Does anyone want to dig a piece of gold out or not?
Oh, I'll do it. I have to record you though. So.
Right, well, there'll be more than likely one reasonable easy one here. Might have a go at getting this one out. Like I said, I can always come back and just get these. Take that off. Right, so that's not too far down, because I can sort of hear how prominent the noise is. Another one here. I'll just move that one. Hear that? Right, now this is like, see, I can move it on there, there's nothing. Just a normal, come past here. Right, what I'll do is I'll stretch all this out. We'll get this one. I'll move a little bit each time so you know that it is in the ground. We'll get another one out here. Sometimes they do come out when you just scratch it off. Now it's noticed I just only took that slight little bit of dirt off the top. Now the noise is getting louder. Right, so I know it's getting closer to where we are. So if there's anyone, oh here, I'll knock this one out. I just don't want to drop the thing here. It should start singing at us. If not, it'll be in this pile of dirt. Righto, that one's out. Righto, now it's a bit of a kicking process to eliminate where the target is. Righto, get rid of these bigger rocks. Right, that's still there. Let's move it over here a bit. Okay. Scoop. There should be somewhere, hopefully in here. Not in that one. Nope. Righto, it's in this one. So basically just eliminate it. Still in that one. Right, out of there, so ditch that, halve it. Not in there. Just tricks you, eh? Even after doing it for so long. That's it. Right.
Gotta get a little bit of water. Wash it up real quick.
So that was a loose one that's come out into the stream.
Yeah. Yep. While that one's going around here, I'll dig this one out here too. I know there's another one in the wall here. Like I say, I heard them all before. The reason why I haven't dug them out is just so we got something to show you. Yeah. Right. Right, so what I'll do is I'll scratch a bit more off. See, a lot of people, because of they go through and you've got this same again, this river stone on top. Once you get through that river stone, then it's a whole new ball game again. Right, that one's still there.
Very fine.
So, I'll have to get the pick now. Sorry, bud. I'll just put that side. Okay, now if it's not out, it should be same again. It should be getting a lot louder. You should be able to hear it a lot better.
Interest.
Nuggets.
Oh, wow, look at that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right, I reckon this one is out. Right, and there's another one coming. Hear that?
Yeah.
Right, that's how thick this is with gold. All right, let's get this one out. It's only small, but it's gold. So yeah, like I say, there's you can obviously it's not in there. No, not in that bit. Right, it's in this one here. It's in this bit. Bit of elimination happening. See, I don't know, can you? Can't quite see the gold yet.
We'll give it a wash, Rob.
Oh, that's all right. No, we'll get it out. We'll get it out. Like a Kinder surprise. Now that I've got it out, and it may not sound as loud as what it did when it first started off, when you see the size of the piece, but I think it's got to do with like a, you know, sort of the halo that Quentin was talking about, like around the nugget. So every time you're breaking it up, you're actually breaking some of that stronger signal out. I can just see it now coming. I mean, it's only part of it. I can.
Yeah. Anybody's got a hand lens, you should look at the halo around the nugget, because you see the same effect here as you do at Purdy's. It's all the same.
Somebody's still got my hand lens.
You got a loop, mate?
How many kilometers? These guys have some. Yeah.
How many kilometers?
Oh,
It's about 3.
From here to the end of Purdy was,
No, I don't know.
About
I've seen it
2.8
many times. Oh.
So what we have here is some nodular buckshot pyrite,
Yep.
and just the edge there, you see that extra sheen?
Oh, yeah.
That there's actually a bit of gold sitting on the edge, sitting in the hard rock.
Yeah,
You can see.
right,
This is a nice little example that we see here. And that nodular pyrite's also running at about 1 gram plus.
Even if you take it out and assay it separately.
Yeah, we've pulled a few of them out and assayed them. They're coming back with gold in them as well.
Thank you for joining us today on Proven and Probable. Remember to like and subscribe for more conversations with the most respected names in the natural resource space. Check out our website at www.provenandprobable.com. The information presented on Proven and Probable is provided for educational and informational purposes only, without any express or implied warranty of any kind, including warranties of accuracy, completeness, or fitness for any particular purpose. The information is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, or trading advice, or any other advice. You should not make any financial, investment, or trading decision based on any of the information presented without first undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional broker or competent financial advisor.